You eat 3 meals a day. You snack between them. You consume more calories than any generation in human history. And somehow, you are still hungry. Not hungry because you lack food. Hungry because your body struggles to process what you are feeding it. Here is the problem. Your body was designed to work with specific foods prepared in specific ways. Roasted meat, fermented vegetables, slow-cooked grains, bone broth simmered for hours. Your digestive system, your hormones, your brain's reward circuits, they were all created to process these inputs. Then, in less than a century, we replaced nearly everything. The wheat was genetically altered. The cooking was industrialized. The fermentation was skipped entirely. And we introduced hundreds of novel compounds, emulsifiers, industrial seed oils, artificial sweeteners, flavor enhancers that are biologically novel in scale and context. Your body has limited experience processing this. When you eat ultra-processed food, your satiety hormones may misfire. Your gut bacteria can be disrupted. Your brain's dopamine system responds to engineered hyperpalatability, driving you to eat more even as your cells receive fewer nutrients per calorie. Medieval people ate simple food, meat, bread, vegetables, fermented dairy, and their eating patterns generally aligned with slower consumption and less engineered palatability. Obesity existed, particularly among wealthy elites with access to excess, but food scarcity and physical labor shaped appetite for most people. You eat food engineered in laboratories to maximize consumption, and you wonder why stopping feels so difficult. The food industry's commercial incentives optimize for repeat consumption, not for your satiety. Before we continue, drop a comment below. Do you ever feel hungry even right after eating? Do you crave specific processed foods in a way you never crave, say, steamed broccoli? Tell me your experience, because what you are about to learn will explain exactly why your body responds to modern food this way. Today, we are going to examine how your body is designed to process food, what signals tell you to start and stop eating, and how modern food manufacturing has systematically disrupted these systems. We will look at satiety hormones, the gut-brain axis, dopamine responses, and the specific preparation techniques medieval cooks used that made their food fundamentally different from ours. By the end, you will understand why willpower is not your problem. The food is the problem, and you will know what to do about it. Your body has an elegant system for regulating hunger. When you eat real food, stretch receptors in your stomach detect the volume. Nutrient sensors in your gut detect proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. Your intestines release hormones, cholecystokinin, peptide YY, GLP-1, that signal fullness to your brain. Meanwhile, leptin from your fat cells tells your hypothalamus how much energy you have stored. When this system works, you eat until satisfied, and then lose interest in food. You do not think about eating again until genuine hunger returns. This is how our bodies were designed to operate. Medieval people eating a meal of roasted meat, bread, and vegetables activated every part of this system. The meat provided protein and fat that triggered strong satiety hormone release. The bread, dense, chewy, fermented, required extensive chewing, slowing consumption and allowing fullness signals time to reach the brain. The vegetables added fiber and bulk. The meal satisfied. Now consider a modern ultra-processed meal. A fast food burger with fries and a soda. The bun is soft, requiring minimal chewing. You can consume it in seconds. The meat patty is extended with fillers and engineered for rapid consumption. The fries are stripped of fiber, fried in seed oils, and salted to encourage continued eating. The soda delivers massive sugar with minimal satiety signal. Liquid calories tend to produce weaker fullness responses than solid foods at equivalent calories. You consume 1,000 calories in 10 minutes. Your stretch receptors barely register the volume. Your nutrient sensors detect a flood of refined carbohydrates, but minimal protein. Your satiety hormones fire weakly compared to whole food meals. 30 minutes later, you are hungry again. Not because you lack calories, because your body never received the signals that a satisfying meal occurred. Research from the National Institutes of Health, published in 2019, demonstrated this directly. In a randomized controlled inpatient trial, participants eating ultra-processed diets consumed approximately 500 more calories per day than those eating unprocessed diets, even when both diets were matched for available calories, sugar, fat, fiber, and macronutrients. The ultra-processed group ate faster and reported less satisfaction. The food itself drove the overconsumption. Not the calories, not the macros, the processing. Your brain has a reward system designed to reinforce behaviors that promote survival. When you eat food that provides genuine nutrition, dopamine is released in measured amounts. You feel good. You remember that food as valuable. You seek it again when hungry. This system was designed to work with natural foods that provided nutrients alongside their reward signals. Ripe fruit delivered sugar along with fiber, vitamins, and water. Fatty meat delivered calories along with protein, minerals, and essential fats. The reward matched the nutritional value. Modern food science has shifted this balance significantly. Food manufacturers employ scientists whose job is to find what the industry calls the bliss point, a documented concept describing the precise combination of sugar, salt, and fat that maximizes palatability and drives repeat consumption. They engineer texture for rapid oral dissolution. They add flavor enhancers that amplify taste beyond typical natural food profiles. The result is food that can trigger strong dopamine responses without delivering proportional nutrition. Your brain interprets the intense reward as evidence of valuable food. It drives you to consume more, but the expected nutrition does not arrive in proportion to the reward signal, so the drive to eat continues. This is not just theory. Brain imaging studies show that highly palatable foods engage reward circuitry in notable ways. A 2023 review in the British Medical Journal examined whether ultra-processed foods meet established criteria for addictive potential. The researchers concluded that UPFS can meet several of these criteria in some contexts, including triggering compulsive consumption despite negative consequences. Medieval food could not produce this mismatch. Honey was sweet, but it was rare and came with bioactive compounds. Roasted meat was satisfying, but preparing it required hours of work. The reward generally matched the effort and the nutrition. There was no way to engineer around the system. Modern food engineering has found ways to produce reward signals that outpace nutritional delivery. If this is valuable to you, hit that like button. It helps this information reach people who need it. Your gut contains tens of trillions of microorganisms, bacteria, fungi, and other microbes, with bacterial counts roughly comparable to the number of human cells in your body. This ecosystem is not passive. It communicates constantly with your brain through the vagus nerve, through immune signaling, and through compounds the bacteria themselves produce. When your gut microbiome is healthy and diverse, it produces short-chain fatty acids that may reduce inflammation, neurotransmitters that can influence mood, and signals that appear to help calibrate appetite. Research increasingly suggests that gut bacteria may influence not just digestion, but cravings, food preferences, and even emotional states, though this remains an active area of investigation. Medieval diets fed this ecosystem in ways that supported diversity. Fermented foods, sauerkraut, pickled vegetables, sourdough bread, aged cheese, fermented dairy, delivered beneficial bacteria directly. Fiber from whole grains and vegetables fed existing beneficial strains. The diversity of foods supported diversity of microbes. Modern ultra-processed diets may do the opposite. Emulsifiers, compounds added to processed foods to improve texture and shelf life, have been shown in animal research to damage the mucus layer protecting gut cells, potentially allowing bacteria to trigger inflammation. A 2015 study in Nature demonstrated this effect in mice, and emerging human research suggests similar mechanisms may be relevant. Artificial sweeteners, despite having no calories, have been shown in some studies to alter gut bacteria composition in ways that may impair glucose tolerance, though individual responses vary. The lack of fiber in refined foods may starve beneficial bacteria that depend on it. The result, for many people eating modern diets, could be a gut ecosystem shifted toward bacteria that thrive on sugar and processed ingredients. You think you want the chips? Your gut bacteria may be influencing that craving. The ecosystem shapes your preferences. Controlled feeding studies have shown that switching dietary patterns can begin shifting gut bacteria composition within days. Participants often report changes in cravings and satiety, not because they are trying harder, but because their internal ecosystem is responding to different inputs. Medieval people had no concept of the microbiome, but their traditional food preparation, fermentation, slow cooking, whole ingredients created exactly the conditions for gut health that modern science is only now beginning to understand. Medieval cooks did not know about phytic acid, lectins, or enzyme inhibitors, but through centuries of inherited practice, they prepared food in ways that reduced these compounds and may have improved nutrient availability. Take grains. Raw grains contain phytic acid, which can bind to minerals like zinc, iron, and calcium, potentially reducing absorption. Medieval bakers did not eat raw grain. They soaked it, fermented it for 12 to 24 hours, then baked it. This process significantly reduced phytic acid content, while also breaking down proteins that some people find difficult to digest. Much modern bread takes a different approach. Industrial baking often uses fast-rising commercial yeast and completes the entire process in under 3 hours. While this varies by manufacturer, shorter fermentation times generally mean more phytic acid remains and less protein breakdown occurs. The practical significance depends on overall diet and individual factors. But the processing difference is real. Take legumes. Medieval cooks soaked beans overnight, often with a splash of something acidic, then cooked them for hours. This process reduced certain anti-nutrients and broke down complex carbohydrates that can cause digestive distress. Modern canned beans are pressure cooked more quickly. This is effective for safety and basic digestibility, but differs from traditional preparation methods. Take meat. Medieval cooking meant roasting over fire for hours, or simmering in pots all day. This slow cooking broke down collagen into gelatin, potentially making proteins more digestible and creating compounds that may support gut lining health. It also released minerals from bones into broths that were consumed regularly. Modern cooking prioritizes speed. Microwave a meal in 3 minutes. Eat meat that has been quickly seared rather than slowly braised. Skip the bone broth entirely. Convenience has replaced the processes that traditional cooks considered essential. The medieval cook spending hours preparing food was not wasting time. She was transforming raw ingredients using methods refined over generations. Here is the core issue. Your body has pattern recognition systems designed to work with specific inputs. It expects certain foods and responds to them in established ways. When you eat an apple, your body recognizes it. Fiber slows sugar absorption. Enzymes activate. Appropriate amounts of insulin release. Satiety signals fire. The pattern is familiar. When you drink apple juice, fiber removed, rapidly absorbed, your body partially recognizes it. Something is different, but it can adapt. Blood sugar management is altered, but not broken. When you consume high fructose corn syrup, developed in the late 1950s and commercialized in the mid to late 1960s, your body encounters something relatively new. The fructose can flood your liver in ways that differ from whole fruit consumption. Research suggests it may interact with appetite regulation differently than other sugars, though the mechanisms remain debated. Now, multiply this across your entire diet. Industrial seed oils extracted with solvents, refined to remove taste and smell, high in omega-6 fats at ratios that differ substantially from traditional dietary patterns. Your body processes them, but without the context of the natural fat sources we were meant to consume. Artificial sweeteners that taste sweet but provide no calories. your body may expect energy that never arrives. Research suggests this mismatch could affect metabolic calibration in some individuals, though findings vary across sweeteners and populations. Emulsifiers, stabilizers, flavor enhancers, preservatives, dozens of compounds in many processed foods that your body encounters without any historical precedent. Each novel input is a small adjustment your body must make. Stacked together across 3 meals a day for decades, they may contribute to the dysregulation many people experience. Hunger signals become unreliable. Reward circuits respond to engineering rather than nutrition. Gut ecology shifts. Medieval people eating traditional food faced less of this confusion. Most inputs were familiar across generations. Most foods fit established patterns. The body generally knew what to do. If you are finding this valuable, hit subscribe. We are uncovering why your biology may not be the problem. The modern food environment might be. You cannot change the food system, but you can change what you feed your body. First, prioritize single-ingredient foods. Meat, fish, eggs, vegetables, fruits, nuts. Foods your great-great-grandmother would recognize. The fewer ingredients on the label, the more familiar the food is to your biology. Second, restore traditional preparation where practical. Soak grains and legumes before cooking when you have time. Choose sourdough bread over rapid rise commercial loaves. Make or buy fermented vegetables. Simmer bones into broth. These processes exist because generations found them valuable. Third, reduce ultra-processed foods. If it comes in a package with unfamiliar additives and highly processed formulations, your body has less experience with it. The immediate convenience may not be worth the potential metabolic confusion. Fourth, eat slowly. Satiety signals take time, roughly 20 minutes, to fully register. Medieval meals were slow by necessity. Modern eating is rushed. Give your body time to recognize that food has arrived. Fifth, support your gut ecosystem. Fermented foods introduce beneficial bacteria. Fiber feeds them. Reducing emulsifiers and artificial sweeteners removes compounds that may disrupt them. Your cravings may shift as your microbiome shifts. Individual responses vary, but many people report changes. This is not about willpower. This is about removing interference that may prevent your biology from functioning as designed. When you eat food your body recognizes, hunger and satiety signals may work better. Cravings can diminish. Energy can stabilize. You are not broken. You may have been eating inputs your body has limited experience processing. The medieval peasant eating his simple meals, roasted meat, dense bread, fermented vegetables, bone broth, was not following a diet. He was eating food, real food, prepared with techniques refined over generations to work with human biology rather than around it. His eating patterns generally aligned with slower consumption and less engineered palatability. Satiety signals had time to work. His gut bacteria received the inputs they were meant to process. His dopamine system responded to food that delivered nutrition proportional to its reward. We have replaced much of that system with industrial products engineered for maximum consumption. Foods designed to be eaten quickly, to trigger strong reward responses, to produce weaker satiety signals, and to keep us reaching for more. We have introduced hundreds of novel compounds our bodies were never designed to process. Then we blame ourselves when we cannot stop eating. The difficulty is not your willpower. The difficulty is a food environment that treats your God-given biology as a challenge to overcome rather than a wisdom to respect. Medieval food was simple, it was slow, it was familiar to human biology, and it worked with the body instead of around it. Every time you choose whole foods over processed ones, traditional preparation over industrial shortcuts, and familiar ingredients over novel compounds, you may restore your body's ability to recognize what it is eating. You give your biology a chance to work as it was designed. What do you think has changed most about how we eat? The speed, the processing, or the novel ingredients? Let me know in the comments. Subscribe if you want more truth about why traditional wisdom still matters.